Hello, everybody. It is another WXR. Joining me today is Chris, aka The Mole, James Phoenix, and Marcus Shadow. I am Richter Hammer. And today's topic is real-life stories bleeding into wrestling storylines. And, yeah. I'd say the most famous examples would be probably the whole Matt Hardy Edge thing, and on TNA side, what was it? The divorce of Kurt Angle, right, and his kids and all that nonsense.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone have any particular thoughts they wanted to express at the start?
Or as we like to call it, Papa Kurt and Papa Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh my, that was so bad. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I actually saw a promo for that from TNA when they did it, because I had heard, I don't know, it was from Fallen Angel or from Jim or someone about that, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
And I actually saw a promo, and I was just like, okay, Dixie Carter done lost her fucking mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the TNA one was worse than the WWE one.
Yes.
The WWE one, I actually supported and understood why.
Yeah,
Because WWE would have let that shit go if Matt hadn't gone online and been unprofessional and basically kept telling the fans everything. Which means it was a case of Matt telling the fans that, so WWE was like, okay, we kind of got to do something because now all the fans are finding out because they're speaking to Matt himself.
Well, they could have been professional and ignored it, but yeah. No, the TNA one was definitely worse because it involved children, and that, like, you just hear that, like, that they're doing that, and there's always a part of me that was like, there's no way. And then you see it and you're like, how did they think this was a good idea?
Yeah.
This is horrible.
I saw WWE's I'm Your Poppy storyline.
They must have. Oh,
But-
good God.
Yeah, it's like I said, I could understand the WWE one. The TNA one, no. Because the WWE was kind of forced into doing that one. But the TNA one, they chose to do that, which makes it much worse.
Yep. And then there's the age difference between fucking Ray's kid and Angle's kid. It's like, really? Just no. You don't do that to a kid that age, regardless if the kid, like, quote, understands it, unquote, or not. You just, no, it's not good to do that.
Yeah, that's... that is pretty fucked up.
If it didn't involve the kids, the storyline would have been okay. The fact that they involved the kids, that's what made it just bad, just unprofessional.
Yeah.
Like I said in the last one, I'm always torn with the involvement of kids. Because, like I said in the last one, I can understand exactly what Marcus is saying, and I do understand that. But at the same time, I'm like, it's an entertainment business. It's the same thing as, like, seeing a kid in a horror film watches people playing their parents get killed and stuff. It's like, if the kids know what they're doing, if they've been trained or at least coached, fair enough. All entertainment does that. It may be a little unethical, but they do it.
Well, at least with
the difference is in movies and stuff, they know that's make believe. But with something like what TNA did, they're taking something that is happening to them in real life. In real life, these kids now have two fathers because their mother is getting a divorce, and they're taking that and they're making it even more confusing by saying, "Yeah, now you're going to hate one of your fathers." I mean, what does that do to a kid that age? Seriously, I just aside from it being unethical, it's just, to me, just not a good business decision, not for a kid that age. If it's a straight up, like, storyline in wrestling that has nothing to do with real life, then you can make that demarcation and tell the kid, hey, okay, this is going to be it's just a storyline, it's completely make believe. But when you're including elements of real life into it, that's going to confuse the fuck out of the kid. I'm sorry, it will.
It will, but wasn't the custody storyline, like, after the divorce and stuff had already settled in real life?
Yes, but it would still confuse the kid given the age. I wouldn't want to take that chance because if it does confuse him, and if it does, it could completely mess with him and, like, scar him for life. You just don't know, and you can't make that assumption. You know, and if basically if Karen Angle and Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett, if they all decided, yeah, we're going to do this and we're going to force a kid into it, then I'm sorry, they're fucking horrible parents.
Yeah.
Because no, I'm serious, and I'm sure, Richter, I'm sure you, as a parent yourself, you would agree that makes them horrible fucking parents.
Yes, it does.
To basically force their kid to do something like that. And to say, oh, don't worry, he can handle it. No! No!
To be fair, I don't think they forced the kid to do it. I'm assuming they asked the kid in advance, and especially with being Kurt Angle's kids, who on the Kurt Angle VHS tape and stuff, he showed that shows how old that was. But he showed, like, with his kids and stuff, he trains them in wrestling. He gets them to understand the business and stuff, which is they're enthusiastic. They probably want to take part and go on TV and have fun with it, which you can't assume it's going to completely have messed with the kid, because with how fucking long it's been, there's been no signs or reports or anything that kid's been messed with psychologically, which means clearly he knew something was okay with that.
Right, well, I'm not saying I'd make the assumption that it would. I'm just saying, me personally, I wouldn't want to take that risk given the kid's age.
Yeah, you can't assume it would mess him up, but you shouldn't assume that it won't. Like, you should err on the side of caution with something like that.
Yeah, I agree. You need to be cautious, but I was just saying, if the kid understood it and was professional, and if they coached him enough, I could see him leading him through that in a logical way, if that makes sense. I'd still say it was unethical.
Yeah.
And like I said, I still think that was much worse than the WWE situation.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I'm never a fan of them doing it at all, like any of the real life stuff getting pulled into the storylines, because I like that line, you know, where it's like, this is different, you know. I don't expect Mark Hamill to actually, you know, think that he went to Tatooine. That's crazy.
I do.
But you're crazy.
I do ever since the Simpsons episode where Homer had to save him.
That was a good episode.
It was.
But yeah, like, I don't know. I never like it when they do that stuff, because it kind of breaks that line for me where I'm like, well, part of it's also lazy. I'm like, really? You can come up with a better storyline than just copying that kind of crap. And two, it just messes with territories that you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I agree. So depending on what it is, I'm like that. Some stuff I can agree with, like, for example, The Rock, quote, left WWE to go work on Hollywood stuff. As far as the fans were concerned, as far as all the reports were concerned, The Rock was now up his own ass and was so Hollywood. So when he came back, they turned that into a storyline and made him Hollywood Rock. That was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Hollywood Rock kicked ass. But at the same time, some stuff I'm like, no, some stuff shouldn't have been included as real life stuff.
Yeah.
And then after 7 years, he promptly came back, announced he would never leave again, and then promptly left again.
He
was there in
brings it via
spirit.
satellite.
Exactly.
He was there in spirit.
Yeah. And all fairness to the whole kids being used in wrestling can be a big problem. It's not as bad today because things are a little more PG, but back in the day, yeah, you want to be careful with these kind of things. I mean, I don't know. I'm saying kids being anywhere near wrestling can have an adverse effect. I mean, look what happened to Stephanie McMahon growing up in the industry.
Nah.
I mean, she was fucking Macho Man when she was like 14.
Yeah. And now she's married to Triple H. No one should have to endure that.
No one should have to suffer through that. Exactly. You get used to thinking men look like Triple H are normal.
Men that think like Triple H are normal, and that's worse.
That too.
I'm sure she enjoys taking good sledgehammering.
She loves hearing him talk about himself.
No, what she really likes doing in the bedroom, Rick, is she likes to suck him off, get his cum in her mouth, kiss him, and put his cum back into his mouth, and then he tilts backwards and does the water spit.
So he Triple H's a snowball maneuver?
Yes. That's exactly what it is.
Story creator.
Ladies and
2K14,
gentlemen, welcome
make
to
it
the
happen.
Rated X Pound. Your source for adult entertainment.
Affiliated with Ranger Vision.
That's being cut.
I don't know. There's the editor.
Yep.
Wow, we went completely off topic.
Okay then.
Just
So back on
steer the
to
topic. How about the
yeah.
Benoit thing? This had to come out during this. How about the Benoit
Yeah.
thing? Without making a Ben who, a CAW, who's that joke? What do you think about the Benoit situation?
Like which part that they had to tribute to him and then erased him, or
Yeah, the erasing of him.
yeah,
I could understand why they did it. I don't agree.
Yeah, I understand why they. I understand completely why they did it. I kind of wish they didn't go as far as they had.
yeah.
But yeah,
They've actually gone farther in other instances.
Oh,
Benoit's not the only person they've erased from existence.
who else did they do?
so that's
I do
where
not-
London's been.
Ah. Oh, poor Paul London.
That's what he gets for blowing up Vince McMahon.
That's right, because he stared at him when he was walking out, didn't he?
No, he grinned at him as he was walking out. He was the only one grinning backstage. It had to be him.
Fair enough.
It's gotta be Paul.
That's now WXR canon. But anyway. Now I was gonna say, I do not recall the name. I read some articles about this a while ago. But there was a gentleman who used to be a promoter for the company. I think he was one of the guys that was usually at ringside back in like the really early days.
Mm-hmm.
There's a particular, I want to say it was a Bruno Sammartino match that somebody noticed it in on the old when they. I don't know if it was the 24/7 or the classics or whatever the hell that shit is. There was a match shown for something, and effectively what they had noted was that they didn't show it from the actual like ringside camera that you normally see the matches being shown from. They showed it from because at that time it was just like one camera. They didn't have like six camera guys moving all around, but they had one dude, and so they showed it from that main ring camera. And then, but the version they showed was from the point of view of the other ring dude because the perspective cut off this particular dude that was by ringside. Specifically showing this other version of the match from this other camera because so this other dude would not be shown on screen.
Uh-huh.
Because I guess at some point after, I guess apparently they fired him and they buried him because he got convicted for being a pedophile.
Mm.
So they apparently erased him from existence too. I can't remember that dude's name.
And yet they put Pee Wee Herman on TV. Go figure.
No, he wasn't a pedophile. He was just a public flasher. There's a difference.
He also had child porn on his computer.
He did. I heard they just rated him for regular porn.
Yeah, I never heard it was child porn.
Yeah, I heard it was. I read it was child porn, and
You're thinking of the other wacko that lives in a playhouse that was a pop star.
and no, apparently it was Pee Wee. I thought it was Pee Wee Herman.
I don't know. We'll research that later.
Yeah, but back to Benoit.
No. The other pop star didn't have to have child porn. He had the real thing every night.
That's worse.
For the record, I am a huge Michael Jackson fan, so yeah.
So is there any other comments for real life bleeding into wrestling storylines?
Well, going back to the Benoit thing, since
Yes.
Mole asked, one of the big reasons I disagree with what they've done, like, again, I understand why they did it, but it's like, half of this was your fucking fault. And now you're crucifying his entire legacy because you fucked him up? Seriously? That's kind of cold, man.
Kind of, yeah. Like we said though, we understand it because sadly, with how the media is, everyone seems to jump all over WWE for anything slightly that they can use against them, especially since Linda became a politician. And it's a case of whenever they show anything with Benoit in it, they would be seen as promoting the child killer. And it's like, yeah, so I can understand it. However, yeah, sometimes it seemed to be really dickish and like they went out their way to do it. Like when they had the one with Eddie Guerrero with his arm out with the title on him from WrestleMania, and that was what the silhouette they used for Eddie one of the things. It's like, wait, So you took the part where he's about to handshake Benoit, removed Benoit just to use that. Use a different moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they're like, what could be the dickish thing we could do here? I have an idea.
Yeah, well, admittedly that was right after he won the title and he had one reign, so it was a big moment. But still, it still seemed dickish.
Yeah.
You took it from the moment Benoit was about to shake his hand.
Now, talking about real life stuff being used in WWE storylines that was damned brilliant. Still kind of dickish, but brilliant as all hell and worked. The Montreal Screwjob.
Yep.
Yep.
Because that basically spawned an era, and it was damned brilliant.
Yep.
And there's still debates to this day of whether it should have happened or not. And who was
Yep.
right and was.
I can understand both sides from that.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, like I've said in the past, I'm a little sad of what came after it, but
Yeah.
still, I understand why it happened, and it worked for what they needed it to.
I mean, you have to admit that is an example of, like I said, of taking something happening in real life with parties concerned and turning it into a storyline
Yep.
somewhat tastefully, not doing too much with it.
Somewhat
More tastefully than scarring someone's kid for life. Come on.
What, you mean like having Vince McMahon as the evil guy go into a church and do the Triple H thing to holy water or fake his own death? Or any of the multiple distasteful things Vince McMahon's done, like getting like a woman in his company that basically works with him to kiss his ass. That's not distasteful.
I wasn't talking about Vince. I was talking about that particular event.
Yes, which spawned evil Vince. That was the thing that came from it. Vince is the evil Vince McMahon. Brett screwed Brett.
In all fairness, in that particular aspect, Vince is not wrong.
It's like we said, we agree. We understand both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Not going into that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
spawned
understand both
evil
sides.
Vince.
And if you want to see Brett's side more, James, you need to watch Wrestling with Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
That documentary's fucking awesome because you literally see Brett on there tell Vince, I'm going to drop the title the next night on Raw, if that's okay. And he asks Vince, is that okay? And Vince says yes. And Brett's like, cool, and goes out there.
Mm.
Which means, yeah, I can kind of see Brett's side. If he was prepared to drop the title on Raw.
If that's true, I understand that.
But I can also see Vince's case of, yeah, the last champion that went to WCW threw her title in the bin. So it's like, yeah, you can't have that happen.
Yeah, not to mention, basically, you're fucking me out of what could be fucking Shawn Michaels out of what could be an epic pay-per-view title win.
Yeah, and
Anyway,
you don't want to lower the belt's credibility. You need to wait a few years till Cena gets it.
But anyway, I'll tell you what, if we're going to go on that, put the Montreal Screwjob on the topics list for future WXRs.
Sure,
We're moving back on to reality influencing television. I know we touched on it a bit earlier, but Marcus, would you like to go on a rant about Matt Hardy and Edge?
Well, I mean, I thought it was a good business decision to do it. My problem was the fact that Edge got a career out of it.
Yeah, he did.
Because up until that point, Edge didn't really have a career. I mean, he was a good tag team guy with Christian. They were a good team. When he first came back, okay, yeah, there was an inkling of a career there. It's like, okay, yeah, I could see him maybe rising to a main event, but it's like, at that point in time, it's like, okay, yeah, I want to see more of what Edge can do. And all of a sudden, he goes bones Lita and gets a career out of it. I'm just like, wait. So I understand you're pissed off at Matt Hardy for doing what he did, but then you're gonna give the guy who committed adultery and give him a fucking stellar career out of it. Really, you're rewarding this guy for committing adultery.
Yeah,
that was the problem I had with it.
That was horseshit.
Yeah, they awarded Edge because, to be fair, Edge had acted professionally throughout the storyline.
Not really. If he's fucking his best friend's fiance, that's not very professional. It's not very nice.
That's not going against his word.
It doesn't matter if he's professional. He was still an asshole, and he shouldn't be rewarded for that kind of shit.
No,
Yeah.
but he was professional to the company,
So
and the way Matt Hardy
doesn't matter.
slagged off the company and Edge made it so when Edge was entering the arena, he got large ass boos and a huge chance. If they ignored that, that would be completely stupid because they
Did you
clearly
see
had
that?
something.
No,
Yeah.
but the thing is, don't ignore it. Make him the heel. But regardless if you acknowledge it or not, and as it has been shown during the fucking reign of Cena, you can acknowledge anything all you want and still make the superstar what you want them to be, what WWE wants them to be. They could have acknowledged him as, okay, this big mega heel, but never give him a win. So you're using it to create this character, and you're acknowledging what's happened because you kind of have to. But then at the same time, you're not rewarding this douchebag for committing adultery. At the end of the day, that's what it is, and it's kind of hypocritical of WWE for then years later screwing Benoit out of his entire career because of one incident that was half their fault anyway.
Yeah, but WWE's always done shit like that with wrestlers. It's not. I don't always agree with it.
Not just WWE, because lest we forget, not only did that happen, but years later, when Matt went to another company, he got jack shit, and his brother got rewarded for being a fucking drug addict.
Yeah, it's like look at what happened with Batista. Batista threatened to sleep with. Batista wanted to sleep with that vampire chick, Ariel, whatever she was called.
I thought Batista did sleep with that vampire chick, Ariel.
No, he apparently, well, from what people said, which means this may not be true, but from what all the reports were saying and from what other wrestlers have said and stuff, Batista asked her for sex. She said no. So he went to Triple H and complained about her, and therefore she got fired. And Batista became World Heavyweight Champion.
And Kevin Thorne disappeared.
Yeah. Or how about Austin? Or how about Austin beats Deborah? Deborah gets fired. Austin comes back and gets belt. What the fuck? It's because the ones that get rewarded are the ones that are actually loyal to the company, not the real life stuff. Because everyone's saying real life shouldn't affect it, which means technically with the crowds booing Edge and making him a major heel, he was perfect to go against everything that they had built up with Cena, which I don't like what they did with Cena.
I don't think they pushed Batista because he complained about her. That's
No, it didn't.
That's a
no, it
far
didn't
reach
push,
there. I think
no,
they're
it didn't push
unrelated.
him.
But
I'm not saying they pushed him because he complained about it. I'm just saying Batista did get rewarded.
No, not really.
He got rewarded because he got the title within a month after he got a
But
fired.
it wasn't because of that, so he wasn't rewarded for that. You don't have pets or
No,
kids, obviously.
No, we don't. We already know him. Much like Sheamus after him, Batista got rewarded because he knows what gyms Triple H works out at.
Yeah,
Yes.
pretty much that. But I was just saying, with the thing, like, everyone always complains that, the crowd boos Cena, and yet WWE aren't going to turn him heel. It's like the crowd boos Edge loudly, reward him by making him a major heel. It's what the crowd want. It may not
But
be
then give him a different
necessarily...
storyline to do that. It's not that hard.
Yeah, but it was
all the
also...
time.
But
And
the
they should
crowd
make him
didn't
a major
want.
heel.
The crowd wanted him to heel because they wanted him to get his ass kicked. They
Yeah.
didn't want him to get a WWE Championship and a career out of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, but that's
Needed
one of
his ass
that's
beat.
one of the problems we mentioned in one of the previous WXRs, though, is a heel that constantly loses isn't a very good heel. We want heels like take Edge. He used to get his ass kicked, and he'd always win. When he won through a sneaky, underhanded way that made you want to boo him more.
But that
He
got
could be the
old
most talented
hell
guy.
fast.
And a lot of times he was the most talented guy in the ring. Like when it was him. So you're not saying he wasn't when he was against Khali and Cena?
No. Fuck Edge.
Yeah,
He was a mid-card.
Edge was he was the most talented guy in the ring a couple of times, and yet he was still the one that was made to look the weakest. Which, And like I said, with the way Matt Hardy acted, yeah, I could see WWE wanting to punish Matt, and they had no choice but to reward Edge because of how the crowd reacted and the fact.
No, they
the
had a
reason
choice, and Matt
the
Hardy
reason they
was
turned it in-
justifiable.
The reason they turned it into the Matt Hardy thing is because the crowd themselves, after what Matt did, were chanting Matt Hardy when Edge came out for like 2 or 3 months straight.
Yeah, so they apparently
Well, the thing is,
Matt Hardy.
they did have a choice
do
'cause
that.
They
So
they
you're-
could have done what they did and not push Matt Hardy, which is fine, to punish him, and then fucking punish Edge for his part in it too. You make him the heel because you kind of have to at that point. You have no choice. Put someone else against him that could regularly beat his ass, like Cena.
Yeah, but it's like you said with the Benoit thing. What Edge didn't affect his wrestling. and he was still professional. He was still working his ass off for them. So yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, in WWE's perspective, and maybe TNA, maybe wrestling in general, but WWE's general perspective is basically do whatever the fuck you want in real life. We don't care. Just don't let anybody fucking know about it.
Yeah.
So basically,
And
you
if
do
they
the
do,
fuck
we'll
you.
make it a storyline.
Yeah, they don't care what the hell you do. You know, your personal life is your shit. Just don't be public about it, because if the public finds out about it, that affects your image. And per your contract with our company, it's the same thing in contracts that actors and TV stars will ever have. Is that they, for a certain amount of time, while they're filming a movie or promoting a movie or filming a TV show and on a show or what have you, they're contractually required to meet certain standards of of life outside of that, and not to embarrass the people that they are currently affiliated with via contract.
Yeah.
I'm sure the superstars are under the same type of deal, and that's why it becomes such a problem when this sort of thing happens. And that's why, because of the fact that Edge, okay, yeah, he started banging Lita, which was unethical, yes. But the fact is, he didn't start going all over Twitter and Facebook and just screaming, "Hey, I'm fucking Lita." No, he didn't do that.
But if he did
was
it,
like,
then that ruins his image, and therefore that would be unprotofessional if he has
Exactly.
to uphold his image.
So he did, which is why he didn't do that. His image was okay, because okay, now he's dating Lita. Matt Hardy ran on Twitter like a fucking lunatic and started screaming at everything and blew the whole thing out of the water. So once the fans knew about it, because Matt
That
Hardy
was
was screaming
justifiable.
about it, and now they had to kind of do something about it, because Matt Hardy was screaming like a lunatic, and Matt Hardy was rather popular at the time. So
Yeah, it's like the 2.5 Men situation.
exactly.
Charlie Sheen got high on 2.5 Men. It didn't affect his work, so they let it go. The second it affected his work, they then let him go. But like Matt Hardy, he kept going on the internet and making himself look like a complete tool.
No. They let Charlie Sheen go when he started calling his boss at the TV network a series of racial epithets.
Yeah, they called him a load of, well, anti-Semitic stuff, but
Yeah.
that was the reason they fully let him go. But they also cancelled one of the show and put on a hiatus because, as he put it, his drugs and stuff had then become a case of he didn't show up for filming.
Yes.
Which it's bad. I'm not saying Edge should have fucked Lita and Edge was right in doing fucking Lita. I'm saying from a business standpoint, what he did business wise was actually correct, because he hadn't affected the business.
What he did
Except
for
he
what he
did.
did in terms of the business, yes, he remained professional for the business, but the problem was that the business rewarded him for what he did in the personal life. He gained a career because he literally directly related to the fact he fucked Lita. He fucked Lita, he got a career. It's completely different to the Benoit situation, where Benoit had a career. Benoit had everything established. He had done a lot for the company, and then because he had put so much into the company, he got all fucked in the head and stuff and did what he did, and then the company that basically drove him to murder-suicide screwed his career too. So basically, they took a man and destroyed his entire life and the lives of his family. I don't think that's right.
No.
With Edge, he gained a career because he fucked Lita, a career he probably never should have had.
Yeah.
Yes, he had talent. Yes, he was showing talent, but I don't think he would have been anywhere near as big as he was and as popular as he was if he hadn't fucked Lita.
I agree. I said I agree. I'm just saying I understood why WWE did what they did with the Edge thing, because they were kind of backed into a corner. You had the crowd chanting, Matt Hardy, booing Edge louder than any other heel they had. And you had it where Matt, who wasn't employed by WWE, was therefore at the time, was now slagging off the company, hurting the company's image, and almost trying to destroy the credibility of this wrestler, which would have affected his professional stuff. And it was a case of, okay, fine, we hired him back, we put an end on it, but as a result, we've had to raise Edge up because of how much the crowd got behind the fact they turned into a real-life thing, which it's unethical, but it's justified and understandable, if that makes sense.
But
Yeah,
they
if
were
you're gonna be
also
perfectly
chanting
honest-
for Matt Hardy, but they didn't do anything with him. You're missing
Yeah, but
that part.
Matt's the one that actually affected the business. It's like WWE.
So
it's
did
like
Edge.
No, he didn't do
Yes,
anything
because they made a
business-wise.
storyline based off of it. Therefore,
Yeah.
it affected it.
Yeah, but it was the thing Matt did that affected it. It's like
No, so
WWE
what they should have done is not hire Matt Hardy back, turn Edge heel, but make him like this big super heel, but don't give him a credit. Don't let him win all these matches. Maybe have him win one or two, but what you do is they're chanting for Matt Hardy. They're chanting for Matt Hardy, right? What you do is you do what they do with fucking John Cena now, and you let someone like, I don't know, John Cena himself ride that wave. You bring in someone who actually works for the company and is like, yeah, Edge, I'm going to kick your ass for Matt Hardy. Since he's not actually, no longer employed by the company, someone has to stand up to you and your adulterous ways. I'm going to do that. I'm going to kick your ass.
But
Right,
there
but then you had
the
the
problem with that.
Yeah.
But by hiring Matt Hardy back, it shut Matt up. It stopped him slagging off the company and slagging off Edge. Because in his rant against Edge, he also slagged off WWE as well for allowing this to have happened.
So you're saying he wasn't employed when he was ranting about it?
No, but it was. I was saying it was unprofessional.
Then it wasn't unprofessional. He didn't work for him.
It's still his career. His career's
can't-
still wrestling.
But he's not working for
But they
them, so it's
can't.
professional.
But yeah, it's okay. So the WWE could be upset that he's saying stuff, but they can't really control it if he doesn't work for them because he's not disobeying any of their
I know.
rules. And Matt's not wrong about saying, WWE shouldn't let this happen because Lita was still employed by them, and he was trusting the company to make sure shit like this doesn't happen. They let it happen, and then they give Edge a career out of it. So Matt's not wrong in this respect. I'm sorry.
The company has nothing to fucking do with it. Last I checked, Adam Copeland and Amy DeMoss were grown adults that could fuck each other if they wanted to.
Yeah. It's like, but like I said with that, it was a case of when they hired him back, Marcus, they did that to shut him up, to stop him talking about it. And when they hired him back, the only thing they could do when they hired him back, because you can't have people chanting Matt Hardy when Edge is out there and not have Matt Hardy interact with Edge. That would basically be losing out on a shit ton of money. Business-wise, it made sense.
Yeah. Just like it makes sense now that while they're not going to push him and they don't like him, and they're not going to push him, they're not going to give him a title run, they're sure as hell going to put Daniel Bryan in that ring as much as they possibly can because people chant for him and they buy his T-shirts.
Yeah, it's like what they did with Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder got himself popular on the internet, so they had to use him on TV.
Yeah, and then they buried him. That's what they should have done with Edge.
Yeah, and one thing they could have done, because I think he actually was still employed with the company at the time, why not bring out Jeff Hardy and be like, I'm here to fight for the honor of my brother?
I don't think he was
employed. Because I think he was still employed. I think he was.
I don't know, was he still employed, Mo?
I think Jeff was still employed, but the problem was when they did, because they had Jeff interact with Edge, but people still chanted, "We want Matt."
Yeah, I think Matt should not have accepted the offer to come back. I think that was the biggest mistake.
Yeah.
Matt shouldn't have run his mouth on the internet.
Yeah, Matt should.
Why? He wasn't employed by them, so it wouldn't matter. He was justifiable in being pissed off.
He was justifiable in being pissed off. I'm not saying he shouldn't be pissed off, but I'm saying he shouldn't have been going to the fans on his personal sites and stuff that he was doing to interact with fans, and then spewing all the hatred towards WWE. And the other thing, it's like The Rock himself has said he was a little pissed off when WWE let his contract run out, then basically gave the impression he'd walked out. However, The Rock just didn't say anything to the fans much. He didn't say anything to the fans. He just smiled. He praised the company, and WWE welcomes him back with open arms.
Because they know he'll make them lots of money.
Yeah, and the Matt Hardy storyline made them lots of money.
Yeah, too bad Matt had to suffer for it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I agree. Yeah, maybe he shouldn't have insulted the company as much as he did. I can kind of agree with that. I disagree with you saying that he shouldn't have gone to the internet and the fans with what happened. I think that was justified. Yeah. What he said about the company, maybe not so much. But everything he said about Edge and telling the fans what happened, that's completely justified and beyond WWE's jurisdiction. Because he was not employed by them at the time. Therefore, they have no jurisdiction over his mouth. Unless he directly, mentions them, which he did, which is why that happened, and I can kind of agree with that.
Also, if I can mention a point here, because research is my job. I should also point out that they kind of had to rehire Matt Hardy because fans began a petition on the internet for WWE to re-sign Matt Hardy, and it got over 15,000 signatures.
Which is fine. What I'm saying is Matt should have declined it. He should have said, no, I'm not coming back.
And
if they said, hey, we want to pay you ridiculous sums of money again, and he currently had no job, I would take it too.
Yeah, and I was saying the other thing of the Matt going to the fans, I was saying Matt shouldn't have gone to the fans, because at the end of the day, that was real life. It's like, CM Punk and Beth Phoenix split up. CM Punk mentioned he was annoyed by the fact they'd split up, but he didn't go around the internet just slagging her off for it.
Yes,
Why did they break up?
Yeah, and he's not now on the internet screaming, ranting his head off that he hates fucking Edge because Edge is now banging her.
Yeah, because he's banging Lita. Edge isn't screaming for thinking that he did that to him either.
Exactly.
Because if it's a mutual breakup, that's different than fucking cheating on someone.
Yeah. And it's not like they were banging the other person's woman when they were with them.
Yeah.
It was after the fact, which makes him single.
Pissed about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying I understand him being pissed. I was just saying his career is wrestling, which means what the fans think about him matters. He shouldn't have gone on the internet like the whiny emo kids you see on Facebook with, boo, my teacher gave me an F. Wow, I'm going to slit my wrists.
There's a little difference between getting an F and having your life, like your fiance fucking doing something stupid, but I'm glad
yeah, because the F will open up more doors for you if you had an A.
Terrible. No, it wouldn't. One A is not going to matter that much. But of course, you never got any, so you don't know.
I think Matt was justified in his anger. I think he was justified for venting to his fans, for and I'm going to use British slang, for slagging off the WWE. Maybe not so much.
Slagging off WWE, no. He could have talked about the Edge Lita situation in a way that wasn't over the top, dramatic, and like I said, like the whiny kids on Facebook that do it for anything.
Yes, but I think yes, he could have, and I agree with that. But like I said, I think he was justified in it, given the situation at the time where here he is fucking injured, and here he is putting all kinds of money and time and effort and shit into building something for Lita, and then this happens. I could kind of see where he'd be kind of pissed off, and where he'd be pissed off to the point of, yeah, I just need to vent.
Yeah,
fuck it, I'm going to go to the internet to vent.
Yeah, but you could also argue with him slagging off the company and the way he went about it at the same time. He's allowed to be affected by that, because him doing that with his last name, he's putting his brother's job on the line as well. A company that's actually supported his brother when his brother's done drugs, sent him to rehab and stuff like that. And he's risking his brother's life just because someone banged his girlfriend.
I would almost agree with that, except all the drug use, sullied Jeff's name. It's not like the Matt thing would have.
But the other thing is, I was saying, if you'd have listened to me, Mo, I was saying, yeah, I kind of agree with you on the whole slagging off the company side. He probably shouldn't have done that. But slagging off Edge, yeah, I'm all for that. He's justified in that. And I think he's justified in venting that anger, given the situation.
And Victor, I didn't say he sullied Jeff's name. I was saying WWE
just
takes a look
at
at
some
it.
bullshit example. I know what you're doing. Yes, I know what you're doing. I'm not.
No, I brought that up because WWE have done this in the past. They look at the people who are related to them, and if they've got the same last name, they bury them. Look at what they did to the Hearts.
That's unprofessional. That's not. It has nothing to do with the other thing. So the company's...
Yeah, it has everything to do with WWE's conduct,
exactly.
Which we all know they have none.
Exactly. Boom.
So you're trying to justify it by basically saying... You're trying to justify everything that's happening by basically saying that WWE's conduct is right and they can do no wrong, which is bullshit.
No, I'm saying WWE was right in this situation.
If WWE had ethical conduct, it wouldn't matter that it's Matt Hardy... saying all this shit. It shouldn't affect Jeff Hardy. It really shouldn't. They're two different people.
They're both grown adults.
They're both grown adults, but it's the same family name. And it's like, if they promote one, people think they're promoting the other because of the fact they were in teams together.
That would be... think of it this way.
So if you rob a liquor store, then we should be held accountable because we've done videos with you?
Do you have the same last name as me? And have we teamed together?
Apparently we've a team together.
And have
we
we
in the
teamed
same
together
videos?
in something? Have we teamed together?
If you use shitty examples, I'm going to use shitty examples too.
I said, have we teamed together in something where they've released a collection called The Hardy Boys Greatest Collection, which includes Matt, which means if Jeff's popular, Matt's popular with the fans, which means if Matt's slagging off Jeff and Jeff's still getting praised, they're suddenly promoting Matt Hardy because of Jeff Hardy being on the same team as him and having the same DVD with him on.
And they stopped selling the DVD.
Think of it this. Richter, think of it this way. Imagine if, and they're already pretty big, but imagine if the Usos got bigger than they are right now, and then one of them started doing drugs, got fired, and started ranting about the company on the internet, do you really think the other one would not be affected?
I said he shouldn't be affected. Don't try to mole this. I said he shouldn't be affected. Because he's his own person.
Well,
he's the one not.
Yeah, well, couldn't, should it, one doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a business. They do what's right for business.
But that's... Oh, never mind. Drinking the mole-aid.
Because he is the mole, and he is that. Damn.
Stupid.
Good.
I know, it's my own fault for using logic on him.
No, you didn't. If only you use logic, you'd understand this stuff. Jesus Christ.
All right, okay, enough. Matt Hardy and Edge. We'll put that on a topic for another podcast. We'll get back to it.
That was the whole point of this.
And Richter, this just happens when we have to deal with young punk kids.
Yeah, I know, right? That
Anyway.
Girlfriends and shit, so they don't know.
Moving on. How about Michael Cole using the death of Lawler's mother to get heel heat?
That was horrible.
Yep, that was horrible.
That was horrible, but they also had Lawler's permission, so there's really not much we can say about it.
Mm-hmm.
We may not agree with it, but it's not our call.
Okay, then let's another example. Let's see, CM Punk using Paul Bearer.
Again, we disagree with it. It wasn't our call. Although, from what I understand from what you said, he and WWE went farther than what Bearer's family.
Basically, Bearer's sons approved, said yes. We think that our father would want, being a lifelong member of the wrestling community, he would be okay with his death being used as part of this to help promote the product that he loves so much. But from what they said, apparently on paper, it looked a lot different than what it did when they actually put it into action on television. And I don't know whether it's just they didn't understand on paper what it was going to be, or whether it just they went a lot further than they said they were going to, one way or another. When it was all said and done, the Mooney brothers basically said, no, we agreed to let them use our father. We didn't agree. That was too much. We don't agree with what they did.
Yep.
So that was, I mean, you had them, mock the man's memory with Paul Heyman in a bearer suit. Then you had him steal the man's urn and pour the man's ashes on another man and on himself.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, the mocking thing I think was fine. The ashes, that was too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, didn't they also use Big Show's daddy's death for a storyline?
But I think they did that years later.
I wasn't sure if it was at the
Boss Man
time.
and stuff.
Yeah,
I
wasn't
thought
sure
it
if it
was
was
at the time, but I thought I read later that it was actually a couple years later. Because if it was like when he died, that's screwed up. They shouldn't do that. But
Yeah, if it was at the time, that's way fucking wrong.
yeah, especially with what they did. It's like dragging it behind a car. No, no.
Yeah. That was kind of absurd.
Yeah.
How about the thing I think Jim kind of touched upon?
Mm-hmm.
The Macho Man thing.
Yeah, that has not been proven to be true or false one way or another.
But it would make some sense based on the fact they never included Macho Man in any of the Legend stuff. Which means, why were they punishing Macho Man?
In reality, Paul White's father had died years before that incident.
Okay.
And
That's
you're
what
right,
Rick
Macho Man
said.
hadn't been in stuff up until now.
Yeah, ironically, Macho Man's death has helped him get more publicity with WWE
Yeah.
than after he'd left WWE. Not saying
Well, yeah, they said
during
nobody
his
said-
career.
Yeah, well,
But
Vince. Yeah,
he
well,
was
Vince.
huge when he was in WWE.
Yeah, well, Vince Barnum saying he never set foot in the WWE again when he was live, and a lot of the rumors are saying that it's because back when Macho Man was in the company that he slept with Stephanie, and Vince found out about it, and that's why he basically no matter how many who he hates and how much he hates them, everybody got a chance. From Hogan to anybody to Eric fucking Bischoff, everybody got a second chance for Vince except Macho Man.
Yep. Which
Really, what besides that could he have done to piss Vince off that much?
yeah. Plus, at the time it was meant to have happened, wouldn't she have been a minor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I wouldn't want that to be a storyline. That's hella creepy.
No, that would be horrible.
Oh, come on! You tell me you wouldn't want to see Macho Man v Triple H?
Not to try to win a 14-year-old girl, no.
On a pole?
Yeah, pedo on a pole match? No, that's messed up.
Oh, God.
Special guest referee, Pee Wee Herman.
Oh, yeah. Insanity.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other instances of people working real life into storylines here. Let's see.
I technically have one from WCW.
Sure, go ahead.
Scott Steiner took time off, left the company and stuff, did steroids, became huge, came back, and was Big Papa Pump. And he literally, his whole character when he came back as Big Papa Pump was literally, look at me, I used steroids.
Pretty much.
Wow.
No one has any thoughts about that one.
That's kind of
Technically, the fact you realize in a storyline, that's just Scott Steiner being smarter than people.
Yeah.
Which is shocking, and I can't believe those words came out of my mouth.
I could argue with WCW being smarter.
Well, that too.
I don't think Scott Steiner was smarter.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Or
barely
WCW being
smarter.
lazy and saying, "Hey,
Gains
look at this
confidence.
guy. He did steroids. He's big. Let's use that." Because we're not original enough to come up with anything else.
Yep, it was because he came back, he was filled with steroids and shit, and it's like, okay, he looks impressive, let's just use it.
Yeah, pretty
Yep.
much.
And they kind of had to address the fact it was steroids, because he left WCW, and he was not like that.
yeah.
That would be almost like Damien Sandow leaving WWE right now, coming back 2 months later, and being built like Cena. Or being like Batista.
That's what I'm picturing, his head on Batista's body.
Pretty much.
Rick,
Yeah,
can you Photoshop that for us? So we can use that as a picture during this image?
sure, I will do that.
Yay!
Good.
Also put Marcus's head on
Evolution.
Batista's body.
Should I have a little chalkboard picture, like the after the Sandow, it's him with the Batista body?
Yes. And like I said, can you also do the same thing for Marcus Shadow on Batista's body?
What?
Sure.
With a speech bubble screaming, targeting!
Sure, I can try
Oh
that.
boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, it sounds like the Scott Steiner thing was very similar to basically the Great Khali effect. It's, hey, this guy's big, tall, and doesn't, he doesn't speak English. Let's use him as the big dumb muscle. Yeah, that'll work.
It was the same effect every wrestling company's done for everyone that's big but can't wrestle. Masters or Ezekiel Jackson.
The Wyatt
Yeah.
family.
Big
Ryback.
Yeah.
Ryback.
To be fair, the Wyatt family aren't big ripped people.
No,
really.
but they're two big dudes, and that's basically
are.
all they are doing. They're two big dumb dudes that can't wrestle.
They are, but they're rewarded by their gimmick.
Yeah.
Not by like
Yeah.
Chris Masters coming out and being like, yeah, look at my body.
Well, they're rewarded because the leader of their faction is awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
pretty much.
technically WWE did the same thing with, not steroids wise, with body wise, with Lex Luger when he came into WWE. He was the narcissist that just has to keep posing in the mirror and shit.
Yeah.
And then they got him to, then they tried to make him an All-American, didn't work. Admittedly, it worked when he went to WCW and they packaged him as the total package because they were like, look, he looks right and he can do shit like the fucking rack on the back and the torture rack shit. And it's like, that one works. Making him come out and just kiss himself in front of a mirror? No. He's not Simon.
He's not Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. I want to know.
That worked for Cody Rhodes when they did it years later.
I have to ask, was the Cody Rhodes one a real life situation? I don't know whether or not the Divas actually voted him most sexiest wrestler.
I don't know. They may have.
Please let that be true.
Who was the other guy that had that gimmick in between? Was it
Dolph
was it
Ziggler?
Jindrak or one of the French dudes? Which one was it?
Oh.
Renee
One of those.
Ooh.
Was that who it was? Renee Dupree? One of them had that mirror gimmick too.
Yeah.
Check it was
Oh,
Renee
yeah.
Dupree.
That's probably who it was.
The popular
I
one of
maybe-
the two? Capri, yeah.
I may be completely wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't care.
There was someone else. Yeah. Oh. I actually want to
Also-
say it was Jindrak, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't
also,
know.
Since we talk about real life stuff and all that,
I know Jindrak was the one that got shafted from Evolution.
haven't WWE done that recently? The real life stuff with the whole Daniel Bryan and the Bella.
Mm.
This is true.
Yeah, but that's minor real life stuff, and B, wrestling companies do that all the time. And to be fair, a lot of the time when they do that, it's it is tasteful because it's basically just saying, okay, you two are together in real life. Fuck it, we'll package you together.
No,
Makes sense.
I didn't say it was distasteful or anything like that. I was saying that's another example where they used it as the storyline. Did not like how they did that storyline, how they did that scene though with Randy Orton with the Bella. Where she was like a diva and she was like a damsel in distress, and it's like, no, fuck off. She could have at least ran away or slapped him.
Yeah.
Not mouse! She jumps up on the counter.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of
Tommy, save me!
That's exactly what I was thinking of with jumping on the counter with Thomas, and she rolls up her skirt.
No, that's not what Marcus was referring to. Marcus was making a Power Rangers joke.
Yes.
I thought he was doing the Thomas, because that's what I was doing with
with the really, really racist lady.
Yes, back when they know how to show black people's faces on cartoons, so you only saw it from the neck down, and she used to roll a skirt up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I was making the reference of, never mind the fact that I'm a Power Ranger. No, I need Tommy to save me.
Technically, that was worse with Catherine than it was with Kimberly, but that's another discussion.
And let's just have a show of hands. Whoever thought, because I just realised then that's why I was facepalming in real life, whoever thought the sentence during WXR would have come out of back when they couldn't show black people's faces in cartoons?
It's true. But speaking of relationships being in real life, I don't recall exactly, but at some point during their whole once in a lifetime thing, I think it was maybe during one of the Rock concert songs, didn't The Rock take a cheap shot at John Cena's divorce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That whole feud was basically real life stuff, because like Cena was taking shots at something like the stuff Rock's filmed in real life, and allegedly the promo notes, which I still think was really fucking forced.
Yeah,
For that matter, didn't John Cena take shots at The Rock's divorce?
Probably.
But what I was going to say is, one thing I am a little disappointed with the Daniel Bryan Brie Bella thing is, while they did mention it and they did kind of quote-unquote package them together, they've never actually been together on screen, aside from backstage stuff. Like, they've never come out to each other's matches. They're not, she's like not his manager or anything or anything like that. And it's like, if you're going to do it, do it. Don't fucking tease it.
They're keeping that for total divas of, they're together, but when they're trying to do their separate careers, look how independent they are. But tune in to Total Divas to catch all the action.
Exactly, they want to use that for ratings.
They're hoping John Cena. They're hoping John Cena will pop the question to Nikki Bella so that they can package Cena and Bryan together. That's what they're doing.
Hasn't Cena broke up with the other Bella?
Oh, did he?
Did he?
I don't know if it was true or not, but apparently there was a report last week on one of the LOL dirt sheets that Cena and Nikki have broke up.
Yeah, Cena and the ugly one.
Yeah, Cena and Nikki have broke up apparently, and I was like, oh, okay.
Let's find out.
Because apparently Cena was also cheating on her with Edge. Come on, you've seen the way Cena looked at him during their feuds.
Fire Cena.
Just play some music over the top of it, like, in the middle of your gravity.
What you say?
So does that mean Edge truly knows if Cena sucks?
Yes.
That might have been a little too far.
It may have.
I'm also hoping every time Edge inserted himself, he shouted, "Spear, spear, spear." But I don't
he had Michael Cole do it for him.
He has an MP3 of just that clip, and he puts it on repeat.
Yeah.
I figured Michael Cole just pays to be there.
Yep. And real life stuff into, quote, wrestling stuff, because we're talking about good and bad. How about Mark Henry? He literally made a wrestling career from being the world's strongest man.
That's true. And I like how he still touts that despite winning that title like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And speaking of real life stuff that was brilliant, how about Mark Henry teasing that he was going to quit and not really quit?
That was a problem.
Because that came straight from real life, because people were reporting that he was going to retire, and Henry was like, the fuck? Well, okay, I'll use it. What the hell?
Yeah, I do like real life into one storyline stuff that are good that I like. I do like the retirement ones when they're genuinely retirements. Yeah. Like Shawn Michaels retiring, and he's gone away from wrestling. Well, besides when he's back every week, is basically to go hunting and stuff, which I liked that storyline, and it worked. It's a nice send off to the character, which that one makes sense. I don't know if you guys agree with that one though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so if we're gonna get into that, how about Shawn Michaels and his tag team partner God? Because that entire thing came about because Shawn Michaels was a pill-popping booze hound, fucked up to hell in Attitude Era. Left WWE for a while. He found God, became born again, and then he came back to WWE, and that's when he was okay again.
No,
And-
Jim, we're talking real life. Don't bring God into real life.
Ouch, burn. Atheist. Anyway, but basically that's why they turned that whole storyline into the whole. He's the White Undertaker, basically.
Yeah.
And on a related note to that, also the fact that before that storyline came up when he first came back, how when they reunified DX, he wouldn't do any of the adult dirty shit again. Like, I remember one particular because it went against his beliefs now, and I remember one particular event on Raw, the one where DX was there and they were having their little feud with Vince before they shoved his face on Big Show's ass, and they were in the parking lot having a cookout, and Triple H was at the grill making cock jokes with the hot dogs, and right before he was about to do something else really dirty with them, Shawn Michaels, who could because his beliefs wouldn't be in his sketch, Triple H went, "Hey, is that Mr. Fuji? Where?" And Michaels just ran off.
Yep. Although I will say with that same storyline, as much as I didn't like DX when they reunited, the PG DX, however, I did like the one joke that came from the Shawn Michaels stuff.
Yeah,
He did bless it, because that's why it's holy shit.
I mean, some of the stuff was funny. It just having him do that and incorporating that into the DX thing just made it not DX. Like Mole said, it just no. I don't
think DX would ever have been DX when they were reunited, because the idea of DX was young, up-and-coming guys shoving it to the authority. And now you got the guys that are the authority as middle-aged men doing it. It's like, no, you're everything it's not. You're Dragon Ball Z, you're Dragon Ball Evolution of DX.
Yeah, exactly.
DX Evolution.
That's why, like I say, it was cool to see them come back, and there was some funny stuff to come out of it. It's just like, no, don't bring them into the PG era. You've ruined them. But it was clever how they incorporated, Shawn Michaels' faith into that.
It was. Or how they came up with clever things because he didn't want to be associated with it. So it was kind of clever coming up with various excuses every week that he would disappear or be blindfolded so he couldn't see it or something.
Oh, here's another one. Here's another one for you if we're going to talk about this. DDP stalking the Undertaker's wife.
That was not real. DDP did not really stalk Undertaker's wife.
No, but that was Undertaker's real wife, and I'm pretty sure they filmed at his real house.
Okay, that's the part you were bringing. Okay, good. I thought Jim was going to go way batshit crazy and say DDP was really stalking him. He wasn't.
No, I just mean the fact that they used Undertaker's real wife. I mean, that was a really nice house. I would assume it was Undertaker's real house. I don't know. I mean, I know they've used fake I know they've used fake houses, like when Triple H beat Randy Orton on his quote-unquote front lawn.
They have used fake houses, however, that same house was shown in Undertaker, This Is My Yard, and he showed you around his house and stuff and showed you Sarah with him and stuff, and he was talking about his career and all his bikes he owns and stuff, which that was kind of cool.
So it was Undertaker cribs?
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
Would that qualify as taking real life and using it for a story? It's a real life location, yes.
And a real life wife.
But
yeah, and it's real life wife. That was
but the story didn't come anywhere from real life, so I don't think that qualifies.
I thought Jim was referring to just using Undertaker's wife as his real life.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas pretty much any time Randy Orton's quote-unquote wife has appeared on TV, it's been a fake wife. He's had like 5 of them.
Yep. He goes through women like Batman in the movies.
Pretty much.
You can't have the same one in 2 films.
Nope.
Well, technically WWE-wise, Randy Orton-wise as well. How does everyone here feel about the Marines situation? Because that technically counts.
That sort of counts. That's true.
I could actually understand why the Marines were pissed by that, because they take that stuff very seriously. So I understand why WWE said, yeah, okay, fine, you're not in the film.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, how about Mick Foley using Socko? Because I have it on good authority in real life. Mick Foley does own socks.
Yes, but does he paint faces on them and give them voices?
Who doesn't? Oh, just me? Oh, okay.
Yes, now that we've gone through several
Examples.
examples and whatnot, maybe we should get to the supposed to be meat or heart of the discussion of, do we think they're good or bad?
I think it was like we said at the top of the hour of basically it's good. It depends on the storyline.
Yeah.
We've listed ones that have been really good, ones have been really bad, some have been in poor taste. So it depends on the situation, depends on whether or not they should do the real life stuff.
And I think it also depends on how WWE handles it.
Yeah. It's like I wouldn't want to see Randy Orton have a real life or have a storyline where he ends up shitting in Diva's bags. I assume we've all read that story.
Yeah. I wouldn't want that storyline either.
I wouldn't want that even though.
Yeah, just like
your previous champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, just your current champion, ladies and gentlemen.
I thought Cena was champion. Oh no, Randy Orton did win, didn't he?
No, Randy Orton won the ladder match. He's the champion.
I've been ignoring wrestling for the last couple of weeks. I watched the pay-per-view and I watched bits of it. I just forgot he was champion. Your current champion.
Yes, and let us also not. I wouldn't want a storyline that was about Batista banging all the divas. So.
Well,
it'd be hilarious. I picture him like Leisure Suit Larry, where he just kind of goes around. He's like, "Hey," and he's all like scummy about it. I wouldn't want to see it, but I could picture it being hilarious.
No, if he's gonna do that, he has to walk around wearing a leisure suit and he has to be carrying a basketball.
No, I want that as a storyline. If every time before he bangs the diva, he emerges from the shadows. Like he did when he was following Shawn Michaels around. Just steps out the shadows behind the divas. I would totally fucking watch that.
There you go.
Story creator.
Now here's one for Jim, and tell me this one would be awesome. Chris Jericho comes back, and his gimmick is basically he comes back to take on 3MB, and his gimmick is that he's a rock star, and they incorporate Fozzy into the gimmick.
That'd be interesting.
Haven't they already done that?
Yeah, they kind of done that a couple times.
They haven't made him an out-and-out rock star. They made him the Ayatollah of rock and roll, but they haven't actually used the fact that he's the frontman for his band as his gimmick.
Oh, I thought that was his current gimmick. He's just Jericho.
Pretty much. I mean, they advertised his albums on the show. The band is playing on Raw before.
But you mean he should have been like, what the hell was his name? The dude with the guitar.
Yeah. Basically, they've promoted his stuff, they've promoted his music, but they've not made his music his gimmick, is what I'm saying. Because his gimmick has always been Y2J. His gimmick has always been Chris Jericho. Why not make it Chris Jericho the rock star?
Yeah, like I could agree with that.
Now, I have a counterpoint to today's little discussion just to wrap this up. Because I'm talking about this, interestingly, now obviously this doesn't have quite as big an effect, but what do we think about it when storylines become real life?
Got an example?
I have a couple. Well, Mo, would you like to tell the story of how Brian Pillman got himself released from WCW?
No, you can tell that one.
Well, basically, at the time, Pillman worked for WCW around 96-ish, mid-90s, and he was running a loose cannon storyline. Basically, he was playing the Pillman's Got a Gun, Brian Pillman. Mm-hmm. And basically, they were running this storyline where basically he would do shit that seemed like it could not possibly be scripted, even to the point that the other superstars involved didn't know that it was supposed to happen. Like, they tried to make it seem like he was doing whatever the fuck he wanted, didn't care about storylines, K-Fob, nothing. And he actually breached the K-Fob a couple of times. At one point when he addressed head booker Kevin Sullivan as Booker Man on television. And in a hilarious ultimate act, Brian actually convinced him that it was supposed to be a storyline where he was supposed to be fired from WCW. And he convinced him that it would look a lot more legitimate if they actually gave him termination papers. And then he left and went to ECW.
Wow.
Yep. And
so he basically conned them out. Basically, he convinced them to fire him because he wanted
pretty
to.
much.
Yep.
So is he a genius? What the?
Yeah, really.
Ironically, another huge example, which ironically based on the heated discussion we had earlier, also involves someone cheating on someone and getting rewarded. Triple H and Stephanie.
That's true. That's true.
Because that was a storyline before those two actually got together.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Yes. In another interesting one, I happen to see here. Speaking of Booker, Kevin Sullivan, is that there was a storyline again. It seems to happen in WCW a lot, but there was a storyline running where Kevin Sullivan came up with this angle where his actual wife Nancy was basically going to leave his quote unquote character for Chris Benoit. And to preserve the storyline, he wanted to insist that they preserve the storyline both on TV and off. So he insisted that to preserve the storyline that she travel with Benoit, be seen with him in the public, etc., etc. And she actually fell for and left him for Benoit.
Wow.
And how did that end for her?
Yeah, really. Exactly.
Maybe that was his plan all along.
Yeah, that was his plan.
He just turns around in a chair. Yes.
He's just stroking a white cat.
Yeah.
Yep.
He steps out of the shadows and he has Paul London's grin on his face.
That'd be awesome. But I think we've talked about this subject enough.
That's a horrible thing. Good God, man.
Yeah. I said I think we talked about this subject enough. Did you want to lead? Did you want to bring us out, Mr. Host?
Yeah. So we definitely had some things to say about this and some disagreements and some agreements. So all in all, a very good topic. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us for another WXR, and we will see you next time. Happy New Year.